Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining this session. From 3 to 5 p.m., we have two sessions. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., Project Communications Management, and from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., Project Stakeholder Management. I have already shared the slides of this session so that you can open at your device if you can't see my screen. This session has been divided into two parts. First 30 minutes, we will go through theoretical lecture, then we will try to have minimum 3 small workshops on project communication plan template, project communication strategy, and project communication management. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask, or you can the questions in the chat box also. You can ask the questions also in Bangla. So this is 301. Let's start. As a project manager, we need to communicate with different stakeholders in different manner, from government authority to beneficiaries, from donor to local government officials, from the executive director of the organization to an unpaid volunteer or a laborer. And the communication doesn't happen only by the project manager. The project scenario includes communication of and by the project officers, the consultants, and the other staff members. And it doesn't only happen in one modality, but it happens in different modes and modalities. And it includes different tools and materials and documents, and also timing towards different stakeholders and throughout different times of project phases. These entire things need to be managed by the project manager. Means the project manager manages the entire network of communication. And that's why project communications management is a very important pillar of PMBOK, or the PM knowledge framework. So let's start. There is a formal definition. I'm just reading it. I know that it has no importance that much, but for formality. Communication management means the processes required to ensure timely and appropriate generation, collection, distribution, storage, retrieval, and ultimate disposition of project information. Now, this slide is important. Why do we manage communications as a project manager? We must agree that as a project manager, most of our time we spend in communications. When we have a laptop, we are communicating through emails. We have Facebook groups or messenger groups to communicate with field communication teams and senior management teams and also international teams if we have. We have phones we are calling to different stakeholders for different reasons. We have cars or bikes to ride and visiting different offices to have communications meetings and other things. So we are project manager, but the communication manager, because all the things we do every day is communication. And communication is sensitive because it's a sender-receiver model where we have always a receiver, or we ourselves is the receiver. Can you please switch off your background microphone? And also, communication is complex and communication is important, and communication is a model where we need to put in more emphasis because we have to choose different media and the right media to communicate. Like for example, for donor or for the international colleagues or senior management, email is the best way to communicate. And English is the best language to communicate. Where to communicate with government officials, phone calls and face-to-face meeting is the best effective method. Where Bangla is an expected way to communicate. And also when we communicate with beneficiaries, we need to talk to them in their own local language. And written script is not that much effective, where face-to-face talking or audio-visual method is the best way to communicate. So it depends. And writing style, language, the interface of writing, for example, to interact in real time with the field teams, maybe a WhatsApp communication is the best. And short messaging is the best. Where interacting with different teams and departments, writing a short email in English is the best. So writing style depends. And also presentation techniques, how I am presenting the things. What will be my presentation language? What will be the modality of presentation, face-to-face or online or spot visit or in a meeting or in a training session or a feedback session. And finally, meeting management. As a project manager, we need to manage many meetings and many types of meetings, which includes not only diverse stakeholders, diverse participants, diverse modalities, diverse type of documentation, and diverse way of presentation, and diverse way of participants, like the way of taking feedback from them, diverse way of interaction and engagement of participants in the meeting. So a project manager has to work with different interfaces when it comes to the point of meeting management. So these are some critical areas where Project manager needs to play an active role as a communication manager, so communication is very important in a project management scenario. Now, project communication model as per the PMBOK, or generally speaking, for example, as a sender, if I send a message to someone, so there will be some noises. Noises means it's not the sound, but it can be sound, but it also can be perception of the people, the environmental issues, the modality, the network, then the mindset of the participants, the type of information I'm presenting. So there will be some distractors. But in the meantime, as a sender, I need to make sure that the receiver can decode it. So that's why communication is important, because my message must be that way, and the modality of sending the message, the language of sending the message must be well thought so the receiver can decode it. Now simply, I am sending an information to someone and he can decode it. He is the receiver. Now he encodes the reply and he is sending it to me. Now I can decode it. That is called communication. Now, when I'm sending a piece of information, so the piece of information should be presented in a way that the receiver can decode it. So it means I need to take care of the language, the modality, the size, the style, the environment, the modality, the method, even the color. Like in a training session, I am using a presentation slide with deep color, like my today's slide. My today's slide is not inclusive for persons with disabilities. So this slide cannot be decoded by a person who has vision impairment, low vision impairment. If my presentation is designed in a way that all the participants in the room can understand, can see, can listen, can perceive, and they can reply to me, and I can understand their reply, and that reply is on the basis of my presentation. So that is called total communication. So in that training room, my presentation is okay, but my voice was very low so that the last person cannot listen to me. When she is or he is a person with hearing impairment, so he cannot or she cannot decode my lessons, so she cannot reply. So communication doesn't happen. So this is the PMBOK communication model: encode, decode, and then encode, then decode. That's why medium is very important. It is the language, it is the environment, it is the color, it is the modality, it is the method, it is the person. So there are some communication models like what we have already discussed. There are some important key terms like nonverbal communication, and we know that 50% of communications happened in nonverbal mode. Then paralingual, where pitch and tone of voice is very important. Pitch and tone of voice means my voice and my intonation, and also use of the sentences. Like for example, if someone take a 30 minutes non-stop lecture session, that is not good for the participants. Because basically the adult learners, they can concentrate more than 10 to 15 minutes, not more than that. Then active listen. The facilitator or the project manager or the person needs to listen to the message and other things very clearly. And also it should be ensured that the receiver also listening actively. And effective listening. Effective listening means paying attention, sometimes responding, and also providing feedback. And active listening means listening carefully and confirming that I am listening and also asking questions. I think now I need to stop. Let us have some discussions and some little question. Can anyone give any example or experience where communication has been lapsed and there were some miscommunications? You can give the example also in Bangla. I'll translate it later. Okay, so if you have questions, we can discuss. Yes. Or we can move ahead.
Miscommunication, passive listening or passive speaking, have the way of miscommunication. It's very common in our daily life or our official life. Such as sometimes we say something, not fully, partially say something. In this case, our audience or our stakeholders not understand our clear message. On the other hand, in some cases, we have usually absenteeism or passive listening. This also create a problem in our officials life, or is also a reason of communication failure. There are also some issues of communication failures, such as lack of orientation in new technology. In this modern life, new technologies is very essential, and without this technology we can't communicate with our donors or others stakeholders properly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think your comments are very important. One of your point is very vital in our project manager's life, and that is passive listening. passive listening and also not giving full message. You have pointed out two very vital important point for all of us. Number one, passive listening. As a project manager, we need to listen many things from many sources, from many people, through many modalities. Someone is calling you, someone is coming to your office and he's very angry and he's really wishing to tell you something. You have staff conflicts, you need to listening to the staff members, you have vendors who is complaining about the late payment of his money, then you have local chairman who wants his people should be included in the beneficiary list. So many chit chats you need to listen through different modalities, face to face, through email, through phone calls, through WhatsApp message, through Facebook comment. Suppose you have posted an activity picture and a beneficiary commented that I went to that session, but as a person with disability, I couldn't participate properly. So he posted a comment in your status. An email, then also WhatsApp messages, WhatsApp audio messages, video calls, and also website feedback or even website sharing or comment, Facebook status sharing. Suppose you updated your activity in your website and someone shares the event and tells that the event was very nice and we appreciate it, but if the project can cover more beneficiaries, that would be nice. For example, we have organized a day for persons with disabilities in one location. So the person who shared your status, your website report, so now he comments in a positive way, which is feasible, like and you can consider it for next project phase that okay, he commented in his Facebook that this is the event organized by your organization, Rofik Foundation, but if they organize it in other unions, it would be nice. So you have to also communicate it to that person. Maybe you can comment that okay, thank you for your comment, we noted it. So now look, a project manager, how many modalities, how many interfaces, how many people, how many ways, how many modes you have to communicate. So that's why we have to be active listener, not passive listener, and we have to send full message, clear message, so that people can understand clearly. And thank you very much, Bhai, for these two very important points.
I have another.
So we have 7 minutes only, please.
Absence of note down culture is another cause of communication failure, because in each day you have to receive a lot of messages. We can't remember all of these messages. In absence of note down, if we don't note down these messages, we can't communicate properly.
Yes,
is it true?
This is also a very important point. Thank you. Now we have 6 minutes. I am going a bit speedy. So we have some 5 processes. We have to identify stakeholders. For this point, we don't know to Ori. We have a session from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So I'll not put much pressure on it. Then communication plan, then distribute information, then manage stakeholder expectation, then report performance. Means we have to report back. So number one, if we identify stakeholders, if we have a communication plan, And if you distribute information as per the plan, and while we are communicating with the stakeholders, we are expected to meet their expectations, and we are meeting that expectation, and we are reporting to relevant authorities. Then communication is done. Simple. Suppose the chairman, the union chairman told that, okay, you are organizing the child fair, but one condition. If you want to organize child fair in my union, you have to invite 5 children from each primary school, each high school, each madrasa, each Nurani madrasa, and each even Hifz madrasa. What does it mean? It means he has no complaint or problem with the child fair. Now my participant is 100 child or children, but I have targeted 5 schools. But the chairman has conditioned that you have to invite from all institutions where children are studying. Now I found that I have total 25 schools, madrasas, Hifz madrasas, everything, even NG schools. Now I need to rethink, and I need to talk my senior management that now I need to include all of them. So the 100 participant is okay. Now I can invite 4 learners from each institution. Now I don't need to hesitate to communicate with senior management team and donor regarding this. At the same time, I need to communicate with the chairman that my 100 participant cannot be changed, but also I'm implementing your expectation. Now I can invite 4 children from each institution. Now that communication will meet stakeholder expectation. And also there will be no conflict with the stakeholder and also the donor and the senior management team, because I did the communication. Now, when I am reporting on this activity, I have to put it in the report that was the earlier project budget and guideline, but this is the feedback from the local authority. So that is my solution, and that solution worked in this way, and now all the things are okay. And also by the inclusion of the children from 25 schools and madrasas, how the child fair is vibrant and how the child fair gone very well and included, and give message to the beneficiaries and the stakeholders a good thing. I need to write it down also. Identify stakeholders. We have a session on this. Plan communications. Yes, we have to have a communication plan. We will work on this in the workshop session. And also we have RASI diagram, distribute information. This is all about distributing information through different models and methods. For example, for a local chairman, if you send him an email, this is not an effective way. You better call to him, you better message him, and you better talk to him face to face. And also for a government official, if you give him a English document, it doesn't work. You need to give him a Bangla document. And also you cannot give him a 10-pager document because he doesn't have time. you better give him a one-page document. But also for donor, you better send them a detailed document. But also for senior officials like political leaders and secretaries, if you give them a 30-page report, they don't have time, you better make it 5-page report. But for donors, you can make it 30-page. But for your staff members who don't understand English, you better not give them an English report. You better give them a 3 pages Bangla report. Also for your laborers or wagers or your support staffs, you better not to hang an English notice or a Bangla notice. You better talk to them for 5 minutes. So there are different things, different models. These are the things, just how we can distribute information. Stakeholder expectation, we have already discussed it. There is a retention pyramid, 10% from reading, 20% from hearing, 30% from read and hearing, 50% that we discuss, 80% experience, 90% weightage. So these are the things. Now we have to report also. I think this is 3:31. This is the time to exit my lecture. I hate lectures, and lectures are not the best way to interact with people. Give me only 30 seconds. Okay, so I think we better work on RASI metrics first, then we will work on communication plan. So dear colleagues, I am sending the RASI metrics to you. I would request you to download it and open it. I have sent you the RASI metrics. Now I am sharing the screen also.
Yes, this. Yes.
So now let's open the RASI metrics. Let us take 30 seconds to open it. Then we will practice it. We need to practice this. Could you please respond that you could open it, means the template is working? Could you be able to open it?
No, I can't open this temple for the technical limitation of my phone.
Okay, no problem. So Okay, as we have opened it, let's start from the columns. Now, let us think about a project. I would ask you to give a project's name. Any one of you, please give us a project's name. For example, any of the project X, Y, Z. Now, please look at the columns: project task, project product manager, UI designer, content writer, finance analyst, design director. Now, let us think about our own project. Who are the stakeholders? Please give me the names, suggest the names, and I am editing. Who are the prime donor? Prime stakeholder of our project.
Donor, community
Donor.
people.
Okay, one second. Donor, then
community people. Beneficiary.
Community people. One second.
Supplier.
Community people. Then one second. Beneficiary.
Suppliers.
Beneficiary. Suppliers.
CIC.
Suppliers. CIC. Please don't forget project manager. He is the principal person. Project manager, I am writing it. Other agencies, there is a suggestion from chat box.
Different cluster.
Any other major participant? Any other project participant do we have? Project team. Any other participant? Let us put our ED. Okay, let us make it short. Now, let us put a project task. Please tell me a project task.
Purchase materials or conducting.
Purchase materials. Okay, purchasing materials. Okay. Now for it, Rasi. Let us explain Rasi for a moment. I am writing in the chat box. Rasi means responsible, accountable, he means consultant, I means informed. I sent you the explanation of the Rasi in the chat box. Let us talk for a second. Rasi, R means responsible, means the activity is the responsibility of that person as per his job description. Let us be very careful about Rasi's R. R means responsible, and this is his responsibility or her responsibility as per her job description. Excuse me. Then accountable. Accountable means the person has done the job. Now, to whom he is accountable? And consult C means he needs to take advice. and this is some cases mandatory. For example, for childcare, organizing childcare in union level, I need to consult with the chairman. It's a must. It's a forage, like it's unavoidable. Then informed. To organize the child fair, I have to inform the senior management team, the donor, the internal teams, my own project team, then the local administration, chairman, members, Mohila members or women members. We have to inform them.
Yeah.
And also the head teachers and superintendents of different schools and madrasas. Now, as we discuss about RASI, let us take more 5 minutes to finish it. Then we'll go to for project communication plan. Now, for purchasing materials, should we approach donor? And what should we put? R, A, C, I. Which one? Please respond, anyone, please. As per your understanding. Or let us go through elimination.
Informed donor is
Elimination method. Okay, I. So I am putting I here. So for I, and look, can you follow one thing? As long as I put I, so the color is same. All the eyes are same color. Now community people, they are 0. So white. Then beneficiary, should we approach beneficiary for purchasing material? Should we talk to beneficiary or approach beneficiary for purchasing material?
of course, why not? This is a tax of our accountability, or this is highly related to the beneficiaries.
I think we are mistaken because purchasing material is an organizational internal material.
Now, in some cases,
internal issue.
Such as those issues or purchase is related to the community ownership related project. In this case, we have to include community persons in process.
Okay, so I. So in that case, how can we include R, A, C, I? So we need to define I or C or A or I, RASI. Okay, let us put I, informed. Then supplier, this is not their job. So they will not be responsible. How they can be included? Are they responsible or accountable or consulted or informed?
Informed or consultant, both informed and consultant. Because suppliers have vast knowledge on.
Why consultant? Because they are the one who will provide the supplies. Then the CIC. Suppose for our training, we are purchasing some materials. So CIC is included in the process. That is the point of the project manager's role. To my understanding, CIC should not be the person. Accountable, yes. That purchase officer, the procurement officer is accountable to the project manager. Other agencies that they have no role. Project team, yes, they are consulted and informed, but we can put only one, so they are consulted. And the ED, yes, to ED we are accountable. And project team, let us put it responsible because project team means the purchase officer. So the purchase officer or procurement officer or logistics officer of my project is responsible for this activity, and he is accountable to the project manager and CI and project manager and ED, and he should inform the beneficiary and the donor, and he should consult with the supplier. That is RASI matrix. The RASI matrix I worked on, I am sending it to you so that you can exercise. And now I am closing my discussion on RASI matrix. We will go for the project communication plan. Let me send it to you first. Now RASI matrix is done.
I have a question.
Please, Arafat bhai, let's talk about your question.
I consider that manager must inform the donor, but he is always accountable to the donor. Is it right or wrong?
In a sense, he is accountable to the donor, and you are correct. But in terms of the activity, let us look at the RASI diagram. Yes. What we have written? We have written purchasing materials. So the project manager is accountable for the total project to the donor. And in total project, purchasing materials is a small part. So when the project manager is accountable to the donor, he is inclusively also accountable for this purchase to the donor. But he's not individually only responsible to the donor for that specific purchase. Now,
I agree.
For that specific purchase, I have procurement officer or logistics officer. Who is the person responsible for the purchasing? Means collecting tender or quotation, preparing the materials, processing the bills and vouchers and challans, then managing the VAT and tax related issues with the finance team, receiving the things and putting in the things in the storeroom, maintaining all the documentations, handing over the materials to the staff members, and reporting, billing and vouchering, everything. So he's responsible, but he's accountable to the project manager and the executive director. Or in international NGO, the country director or the head of operations or head of support services. Okay, thank you very much. It's a very nice question. Can I request you to open the project plan, communication plan template? And please go to page number 3, table of contents. If we go to table of contents, let us start from point number 2. So as a project manager, when I'll sit to prepare a project communication plan, I can use this template. Just I need to edit it like the copy and paste. So in my communication plan, I can also put a table of content. So I need to write the background, point number 2.1, 2.2 situation analysis, because every project works in a different geographical location with different stakeholders, with different beneficiaries, with different activities and other issues. Then 2.3 lessons learned. If the project has other phases, means previous phases, so the project manager put the lessons learned from the previous phases. Now point number 3, objectives, which is very important, very vital. And now point number 1 is communication objectives. What are the objectives of communication? And communication guideline. What are the guidelines to communicate? Then point number 4, I need to put the stakeholder analysis. Who are my target audience? What are the expectation of my stakeholders, and what are the key messages from the project? Then channel. What will be my delivery channel and what will be my source of information collection? Then the communication plan. The schedule, the events and communication responsibilities, and also the feedback and annexes. So this is the communication plan template. You can use it in your project life, or you can exercise it, and you can make it in one page for your project proposal. Because in some project proposals do not ask for project communication plan. So let's look at it for a while. Then I think I will go for some question and answer session. You can just scroll it down and you can look at this template. Once you can finish the template, we can discuss questions if you have any questions. We have 7 minutes in our hand. In the meantime, let me send all the materials together so that you can download it at the same time. You don't need to download the previous materials. I'm sending all the materials together, so all the materials are there serially, so you can download it easily. And one thing we should keep it in mind that all the materials are okay if I practice. If I don't practice, I cannot be an expert on any material. If I practice in our free time, I can be an expert on each material. Why? Because as a project manager in my practical life, I need to work on RASI diagram in any situation. One fine morning, maybe my donor or my senior management team or my program manager will ask me to formulate a project communication plan. So if I practice, I can develop, I can work. If I don't practice, I cannot. So I hope that you have enjoyed the session. The next session will be started from 4:10, means after 10 minutes. And that will be on stakeholder management. We have many important things because stakeholder management is a very critical thing. We will work on stakeholder engagement plan, stakeholder analysis, stakeholder mapping. So 3 important workshop will happen. I hope to see you in that session. And I hope that we can end the day with some vibrant learning. So thank you very much. See you at 4:10 after 10 minutes. Thank you very much.